Captain Dave Schneider. It's a guide's life. It's a day off in a guide's life. Headed, actually, went and got my hair cut today. Had to take Joanna to an appointment over in Boca Raton, and now we're headed up to Orlando, the Kissimmee area, St. Cloud area, actually, to see my son and his little puppy dogs and his wife. So we're gonna have a good time. Maybe get to the ocean this weekend. Actually, I went to the ocean a couple days ago after fishing. I fished in the morning, and so I was off in the afternoon. And my sister and I went fishing up in went up and enjoyed the beach up in Sanibel Isle. If you've never been up there, the oceans are absolutely beautiful up there, and it was kind of fun to watch the sun go down there. But sit rep. 5:32 p.m. Stuck in traffic in Boca Raton. It is what it is. By the way, SITRAP for you non-military folk is situational report. Major Beeman taught me that. That's all I got. I wish there was something funny, but there's just nothing funny about sitting in traffic. Except that it's not you, right? Right? So the good news is you don't have to be here for this. Wait a minute. I've brought you into this. I'll let you out. I'll come back when the traffic's moving better. So here's something cool. I have this assisted cruise control function in my Jeep Grand Cherokee, where I don't actually have to pay any attention to the traffic. I just have to kind of stay in my lane, and it automatically keeps pace with the traffic, and it stops me automatically and starts me automatically. It's kind of a nifty deal when you're in traffic. So yeah, I thought I'd share that with you. So you notice I'm just looking right at you this whole time, just looking right at you. Cars in front of me. I see brake lights. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Just slowing down to a crawl. Yeah, you can play on your phone and do. Oh yeah, it stops kind of hard sometimes. Hey, I did think of one thing. I see one of you. Well, I see that somebody had mentioned that they didn't realize that the football clips at the end of my videos I was actually the coach of those things. Yeah, that's the whole purpose of those clips, is for me to kind of stay connected with some of my athletes and what have you. So that's what that is. Yes, those teams, ones that look like the Michigan Wolverines, whether it's dark blue or white, that's the school that I did my last bit of coaching at before I left Michigan. I was there 4 years, and we did very well. But anyway, I just thought I'd put that in there. I actually had a clip. I had to shorten it up because there was a little bad language in it. but not that I would ever use bad language in front of athletes. But I did sometimes. Anyway, but yeah, I was a coach of that. I had my son David was a coordinator there with me for many years, and like 5-6 years. Well, he was actually with me for 6 years, 4 years there and 2 years at the previous school that I was at. But anyway, I kind of show those football clips at the end of the movies.
Keep left.
Oh, okay. Good news. Gonna keep left here. But I show those videos just as a weird little connection to my previous life, and that's what that is. So just one more useless fact that may or may not make the cut. Hey there. Listen, I'm driving along here, and I was kind of beating my head saying, what can I tell you, or what kind of tips can I share with you? Something that might benefit you in all phases of your fishing development. So I do have something I want to talk about, and that's tackle maintenance and storage. When I first started fishing, you start to accumulate things pretty quickly, and one of the mistakes that I made, and I want to bring this up to you because I don't want you to make the same mistake that I made, because I had a habit of immediately taking everything out of the packaging particularly like soft plastics and things like that, and then tucking them into like plain old boxes and whatnot. But I'm going to tell you, don't do that. Leave your soft plastics in the blister packs that they come in. It's a much better way to store them. They'll stay a lot more moist. You know, it's a better care situation. You'll keep colors from mixing and bleeding on each other. But ultimately, there's a degradation of your soft plastics to the air when it's exposed to the air. So don't take them out and line them up in a Plano box. I really personally, I think that's a bit of a mistake. Now, if you're doing that, that's fine. And if you disagree, hey, so what? But I'm telling you that was a mistake that I made that I don't do anymore. Now what I do is I buy the uncompartmentalized, or you could even get the compartmentalized large thick Plano boxes, and I just throw the bags in there. But you could still use the compartmentalized ones and make it so bags will fit, and then you can fold the top and what have you, and it still works. With crankbaits, I do take crankbaits out of the package, but I use crankbait specific boxes that'll hold the crankbaits and whatnot. I always change my hooks. I'm a big Mustad hook fan. I like that hook that KVD has endorsed for so many years. I guess they call it, I don't know if it's a triple grip. I think it's actually called the triple grip, but it's got that little bit of a teardrop look in the bend of the eye. I always change the crankbait hooks. Almost never do I go with the hook that's on the crankbaits. There are a few exceptions. There are some companies that very purposefully put a high dollar hook, on their baits. You start paying $9, $10, $15, $25 for a crankbait. It'd be nice to have a hook that you can depend on, attached to those crankbaits, but you don't always. And of course, when it comes to the more mainstream lipless crankbaits and things like that tend to be at a lower price point, they usually require a change of hooks. And so I change them all out, and then I store them, in boxes, by type and whatnot. But I wanted to share that with you. The other thing is, make sure you keep your stuff in a cool, dark place. Don't leave your stuff in your car for the most part. That's a bad idea, especially crankbaits. The heat will warp your baits. It'll cause them to swell. The plastic sometimes will swell and the paint cracks on them. Be careful about that. Also, if you have a boat, don't keep everything in your boat. That was a mistake I also made. You'll wind up with there's so much moisture. You open the compartment lid and it'll trap air, and if you're in a warm place, it'll trap moist air into your compartments, and that stuff will bleed. It'll leak its way and leach its way into your tackle boxes. The same way of buying the airtight tackle boxes can be a mistake too, because if you open it up and close it in a real warm air situation, you're trapping that warm air inside, and then when it cools, the moisture condensates. So you got to think in those terms. They make several little deals that you can put in your tackle box, little yellow square tabs. I know they make some other square things you can put in your tackle box that really inhibit rust. Big fan, absolutely a huge fan of that kind of stuff, especially for things you have to keep in your boat. Like your hook boxes. I've got a hook box and a weight box and a couple different types of hook boxes, and those generally need to stay in the boat because I'm using them all the time. And so I put the rust inhibitors in those things as well. But the only other thing I want to talk about when it comes to not leaving everything in your boat is don't overload your boat. There have been some pretty serious situations that guys have gotten themselves into by just carrying too much tackle in their boat. There are weight restrictions in your boat, and you want to make sure that you're following them, because it really has a lot to do with the seaworthiness of the craft. If you get it too heavy and then you put a couple extra people in your boat and things of that nature, it doesn't float like it's supposed to, and it'll take waves over the side when it's not supposed to. And I remember several years ago, Roland Martin got himself in trouble at a tournament in a fairly big body of water because he just had too much tackle in his boat, and he wound up getting swamped, and they actually had to rescue him and his co-angler. So those are things to consider, stuff to think about. I like to take everything out of my boat once a week and make sure my boat's well cleaned and vacuumed and aired out good, and then I'll kind of repack things back in, and whatnot. So anyway, thought I'd share that with you. I think that might help, especially the whole soft plastics thing. That was such a big mistake. And now I just keep them in their bags. So I recommend you do the same. This is Captain Dave. We'll be back.
And then I took Clayton's spot.
Josh Mead, the ball carrier.
Back down, man.
Josh Mead into the end zone.